about variable rate technology and the benefits? I was wondering the same thing, so I took a road trip across Western Canada. Check it out. I'll get you to state your name and where you farm, where you're from.
Okay. LTS Grain Farms, Kamsack, Larry Shabadowski. Larry and Tilly run this operation. We farm approximately 12 to 14,000, depends on the year, changes kind of every year. We grow mostly wheat, canola, some oats, and all-time flax, but that's kind of our rotation.
If you can think back to when you started, any surprises on some of the fields that you got mapped in regards to soil variability and stuff like that?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. We didn't, even on a quarter that's basically level or flat, it was pretty hard to get that around your head. There was so many different zones, like soil zones, till they mapped it. It's quite the thing.
You mentioned you grow some oats.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Any specific examples of an oat field where you were able to push a little?
Yes, we did. We grew a Morgan oat. It's a fairly strong straw oat. That we have had some 200 bushel yields out of that Morgan oats on their variable rate.
Awesome. Can you think of in general just a year or a good crop where you were really impressed with the yield that came off the field?
Well, I think the first year that when we just got into this, when we just variable rated the nitrogen, we noticed the standability. At that time, we were growing crops that were a little taller, and they would just hold up a little better, even in the low areas. And after that just kind of turned the tide for us.
In regards to the technology, what is your setup, and have you had any hiccups with adopting variable rate in regards to the controllers and the monitors, and how has Farmer's Edge helped you out on that side of things?
Actually, we use a Burgo system with the Zincs monitor. We run our anhydrous through the John Deere monitor and our drives through the Zincs, and virtually just an odd hiccup, but the boys they've been right here all the time to help us, so it's been real good.
You can think of one thing you're going to tell someone who is asking you about your experience with variable rate. What would you tell them?
Well, I think we got to look down the road, guys, to the environment. I think it's going to be very important down the road. They're going to want to know how much we put on, where it's going to wind up. So we just got our feet wet sooner, and we're in it right now. Because I think it's coming. I think that's going to be the wave of the future.
I appreciate you doing this, Larry.
Well, it's going to cost Simon a little bit of juice or something.
Take care of that.
Yeah, I think so.
Can you tell us what your name is, where you farm, and how long you've been farming here, some of the history of the farm?
Okay. I'm Doug Horty, and I didn't grow up on a farm, but I started farming after I went to 2 years of college at Olds College and graduated in 1979. And our family has a history here, and I had an uncle that farmed, and that was my way into an occupation as a farmer. And I just knew from my activities as a young man that this was an area that I thought would be really interesting, and it certainly has been. So I've been here farming since 1979 and enjoyed it all.
How many acres do you farm, and what are the crops in your rotation?
We farm about 2,000 acres, and we do some custom work for a neighbor to help utilize our equipment. And our basic rotation has been utilizing wheat, canola, barley, peas, and oats. And we've just dabbled a little bit with experimenting with those things, nothing beyond that.
Can you think of a specific field in the last few years where you really had a bumper crop and some of the details around that?
Yeah, last year. Last year was just an exceptional year. It was the year that we kind of all dream about. Going into the season, we were as dry as this country has ever known, and quite pessimistic about how the season was going to play itself out. But when it started raining at the end of April, we just never lacked moisture and never had an over deluge of it either. So it ended up being just a perfect growing season. Right at the end, a little bit of frost damaged some canola, but yields in every crop were what you play the game for. So it was a very satisfying year.
Can you describe how you made the decision to try out variable rate technology?
My decision to get into variable rate was we've run equipment we use up our equipment, let's put it that way. Bought good equipment and used it for a number of years, and I was at a point in time where it was time to really make some big changes and update to new technology, and I felt that at that point we should really make the plunge, and I was really interested in the technology besides, so it wasn't hard to make the plunge. But with the world changing as fast as it is right now, I thought it was time to get current, and I really like the idea of having the technology through GPS.